Okay, Matt, welcome to Tea Time with Uncle Mo. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to introduce you first and then you can introduce yourself. So, Matt is one of the few dads that we have on our groups who is active because there are tons of other dads out there who are there kind of lurking around and getting tips for doing this and that. But Matt is one of those few active dads that is present, that is always there answering people, helping folks, diapering fits, wash routines. I see that you are constantly giving feedback and trying to help people out. And I know, Matt, you are an LHA as well, one of the only male LHA in our group of like 100 other women are there. So Matt's there as well. So I like for me, like I'm so kind of interested in finding out like what Matt is all about. So that's where I am now. Matt, tell us, if somebody were to meet you passingly at a grocery store and you seem like, this seems like an interesting person, I would like to be friends with them. What is your introduction to them? How do you introduce yourself to them?
Sure. Well, thanks, Mo, and thanks for those. Definitely, thanks for those acclamations there, and introducing myself. My name is Matt Johnson. I am a father of one child and happily married at the same time. I work for Parks Canada. I'm currently based in Newfoundland, actually, and my day-to-day job, other than being a father, is fire management officer. So I help respond to emergency responses, mainly in the wildfire response game. I was just recently in BC helping out with fire response there in August, but now I'm back home and doing the things at home that I need to do. And so, yeah, I mean, other than spending time at work, my social life is taken up with my son and wife, and we enjoy hiking, camping, going berry picking. It's berry picking season here in Newfoundland now, so we've got lots of blueberries, and our boy keeps us on our toes, as is now. He turned 2 in May, so he's here, there, and everywhere, and keeping us on our, like I said, on our toes, but happy and joyful at the same time.
Wow. So I'm so fascinated. So what is it? What does fire management, like what is fire management? Like I have no idea. I have not grown up in Canada. I came to Canada at 19. No idea what wildfires were before they started happening everywhere on a yearly basis. What is that? What's the whole field and how do you actually get to become that?
So I went natural resources education at Lakehead University, forestry, and then that got me into the fire management field in Alberta. And so basically what I do now is I supervise a fire crew here in Terra Nova National Park. We respond to fires as they start, whether lightning or human caused, and we try to extinguish the fires as best as we can. We also put fire on the landscape, and what I mean by that is we do prescribed fire activities. So we choose where we want to put a fire down. But my role in British Columbia this past August was fire behavior analyst. So I kind of took the weather and fuel conditions and determined where the fire was going to be at a certain point in time, assisting with evacuation orders. So I'm kind of behind the scenes. I'm not really a grunt on the ground anymore. I'm a behind the scenes planner for these large scale events.
So in BC, were you predicting where the fire is going to be? It's like almost like, okay, we know this is fire season.
Yes.
We know we'll have a few fires. Where is the most likelihood of this fire to begin? Is that what you're doing?
Well, not only just begin, but the ones that are on the landscape where they were going to go in a day, 7 days out, 10 days out, 20 days out. So it's really just, a lot of science side of things, and really determining where this fire could impact someone else, and providing that information to the appropriate people so decisions could be made.
I love the fact that you said that science side of things, because people, I think, forget on a day-to-day basis what science is.
Hmm.
Science
Hmm.
is actually the art of prediction using
Hmm.
previous observations and uh, current information.
Yeah.
And people don't understand what science is. People say science almost like, oh, somebody coming in a lab coat and dictating what things are.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you kind of said, oh, prediction and science, that's the science side of things, which is beautiful. So tell me a few things that you thought were going to happen and things that you were wrong about, or things that you learned that, oh my God, I didn't
Um,
think this would happen, but look, I was wrong.
yeah, I mean, definitely. We make the best predictions of what's going to happen out there, and sometimes if we get a wind switch
Uh-huh.
or it doesn't get as hot, the fire does something different than what we predicted. So it's not necessarily being wrong in a sense. It's just not predicting all possible outcomes. So
Okay. So
and
basically, your predictions were not accurate because of things that changed, and that, yeah, okay, you have no control over a wind switch, I guess, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I
we
yes.
yeah, we can kind of predict when it's going to occur, but if it doesn't occur until later in the day, then that changes the plans for that day and the following day as well. So, also total amount of rain that fell on the fire,
Uh-huh.
that varies. It's not 10 mils at one side and 10 mils at the other. It could be 30 mils at one side and 5 mils at the other. So what that means is the area that received less rain would have more active fire behavior sooner rather than later, and would impact resources and response as a result.
So how is it a stressful job, like being like an air traffic controller, where you know that, oh my God, if I don't do these things right, there is life and money on the line?
Absolutely, there's a lot of stress that's involved with it because like I said, you're telling people when the fire is going to encroach on their personal property,
Hmm.
and you hope you're wrong because you don't want their personal property to be impacted. But
Obviously.
it's making those tough calls and providing that information. Like I said, we work in a team, so providing that information to the team so the best decisions can be made.
Wow, man. I don't think I could do this.
It's
I
it, it, it's not easy, but it is rewarding at the same time. When people come back to you and say, thank you for all you've done, and the thank you get from just the general public for just being out there helping and seeing their faces and talking with them in their local
and
store
the
even.
and the work that you do is so consequential as well. Like,
Mhm.
you doing not doing the right thing or not doing it at the right time might cost somebody their entire life in the form of
Yeah,
their home or their life. So
yeah.
I can imagine that stress as well.
It can be stressful, yes, but like I said, there's rewards with the risks as well, and a lot of times the rewards outweigh the risks, and so it's good to see the people afterwards who I've helped out.
So now, talking about switches,
Mhm.
I want to find what is that switch that is going on in your family, which is different from other families. What is it, by choice or nature, or because your partner is not as interested? Why is it that we see, Matt, you as a dad, more involved than, say, Pamela, for example? Is there something, this is like, is what you like doing? That was a decision. What is it? I want to understand that dynamic.
No, I mean, my wife is the one that introduced me. Like we were always interested in cloth diapering,
Yeah.
and she's the one that interested me in Little Helper products, and I've just kind of taken it as something that is quite interesting to me, and the community is a great support, and like I said, our son is keeping her busy, and it's just one of the many things that I could take off her plate
Wow.
and help out with here, and continue with, I know we we really like your product and what the company stands for, so it was just something that kind of fit our lifestyle, and and for me taking the lead on it, it's just something that, like I said, something that interested me, and so I just kind of ran with it.
Amazing. So Pamela was the one who got the idea of cloth diapering origin, right?
Mhm.
And what did she have to convince you, or you was like, sure, let's do that?
No, I said whatever you want. A couple months before our son was born, I said, I'm going to support you in any decision you make.
Wow.
And
And so there was
this is
not even a discussion like,
no.
and if that decision were to left upon you, would you have gone the cloth diaper Lil Helper route? Or what would you have done?
To tell you the truth, I don't know what I would have done. It was, I've, yeah, that's a good question. I probably would have looked at it, but maybe not taken it up as much as I did. Definitely having the support of your significant other in this endeavor is paramount in making any decision. So I think it was a collective decision to do so, and if it was just left up to me, I may have just gone disposable,
Right.
and then not realizing the effects of disposables. So that's why I'm happy with. I'm happy with the decision that we ended up coming to.
So Pamela actually found Lil Helper, or she said, "Look, these are the 3 companies that I like the most. Let's figure out which one we want to kind of go with." Or she said, "Lil Helper it is."
Well, her friend had a daughter a year before us, and she was cloth diapering. So she kind of said, so my wife started searching and stumbled across Little Helper. And I think at the time your Space Dino design was, interested us, and that one specifically for me. And and so we just went with it, and it kind of we kind of ran with it because it fit with our son's name, and his name's Orion, based on the constellation, and Space Dinos. It's a match made in heaven, I guess we can say. So,
okay, so now I can see. I kind of knew that about you, that you were like a Space Dinos fan, but I didn't put like or how do you say in my
Orion.
Orion. Okay, Orion and Space Dino. Now I see the connection, right? And like I see the connection. So the Space Dinos was enough for you to kind of say, this looks interesting enough.
Yes.
Was that something that before you kind of started using the product, or even kind of figured out what Lil Helper is, that you found out of the ordinary, or something that you didn't expect, that was something, I didn't know that people do this, or a company does this, or something like that in particular, or even in general?
Well, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, yeah, I mean, my idea of what cloth diapering was what you saw in the 80s, the white cloth diaper with the pins, and that was what cloth diapering was to me. And then definitely seeing this community that Little Helpers built and become, and only getting stronger, it's pretty crazy. And there's crazy in a good sense that there are this many people out there wanting to try something new, try something different, and then hopefully falling in love with the product. And it's not just about diapers. I see in your background you got Space Dinos, almost like an extra large Lifesaver mat or something there, and you know what I mean. It's not just diapers. It's a community. There's support there for any questions that people may have with respect to essentially any topic that comes up with child raising and pregnancy and so on and so forth. So,
and do you find that, like, I find like the people in our groups, Unsnapped, LHA, they are a certain kind of person, and it gives me so much joy to know that I'm part of that community. Like, there are this group of thousands of people who are almost the same people, who do the same. The response for any kind of situation is very, very similar, and always it's things that it's not is non-judgmental, and just being accepting of, okay, where are you? Let's see how we can get you from point A to point B without any judgment attached. Do you find that, Matt, or no?
Absolutely. It's really an open group, and like I said, any topic flies. There's specific groups set up for specific inquiries, like more just general stuff versus little helper specific. But I find the community very, very inviting, very open, very honest with each other, and so many different backgrounds and experiences just help strengthen the community
Yeah, and I
as
like
a
it.
whole. As a whole.
And did you feel, Matt, did you feel when you were part of the community, did you feel like awkward being there, being the only guy, or you actually reveled in it?
A lot of times, yes, because there's a lot of questions that I can't answer,
Yes.
and I just can't.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do what I can. Like you said, I provide advice where I can. But as being the only, I guess, active dad, as you said, it's interesting, but it also puts it into perspective what the moms are going through, and a lot of the stuff I don't know, you're not aware of, and so it's interesting to see it as a fly on the wall without somebody who can provide much advice, to see the support and recommendations that people have for others out there. So it's great to see from that perspective.
I cannot agree with you more. Like this being in the community, I have realized how much women have on their plate.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not to minimize the role of what dads do or what the male partners do and stuff like that, but the pressure that I had no idea. So I remember when I was working, Lil Helper was just starting off, I would come back from work and our house would not be in the best play condition. My daughter was just born. And in my head, I would not say it out loud, but I'm like, what is Sophia, my wife, doing the whole day if she's not doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like such a fool to even have had that thought, to kind of not understand how much time, energy, effort, mental space it requires to have a child, to see the changes that are happening in your body, physically, hormonally, to, oh my God, at the pressure that society puts on you of doing the things that are expected from women to do of women.
Yeah.
And the pressure of like, oh, my career is basically on hold, and this, I had no idea. And I could only empathize with her like, thankfully it came to me sooner rather than later, but even I had those thoughts, and I can kind of put myself in that situation. Oh my God, I used to think like that. How ignorant was I? Do you still feel that, Matt? Is How do we counter that with more? How do we make more people realize what young moms do, or how do we make dads realize that?
And I think, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one. I think, um, it's going to take time, and the dads out there are going to need to realize, hey, there's a lot that goes on with it, and um, in order to change the attitude, it's just keep pushing and persevering, and informing dads when dads have questions. Hopefully dads are willing to reach out and talk with their significant others about what they're going through, providing support where they can, if they can, because these are all, yeah, absolutely, these are all big challenges that moms face, and that relationships face,
Relationships,
and
actually, that is true,
yeah,
because this is
yeah.
actually more of a relationship issue than anything else. Man, do you have, why do men feel emasculated when they see themselves doing anything with child rearing? Basically, men will kind of shy away from it because for them it's like a women's job, or it makes them less of a man. I'm like, I'm not fixing things. This is or child rearing. Yeah, my wife is going to do that, or my
And
partner is going to do that. What's that all about?
you know what? It's unfortunately it's society, right? And you know, it could be come from past generations that, you know, unfortunately, typically the role for, you know, and we're making leaps and bounds and strides, and so you know, I don't want to be misquoted or anything like that, but you know, in our parents or grandparents' age, it was the dads that were making the money, out
Right.
working, and it was the moms and wives staying at home taking care of the kids. So growing up, you know, maybe seeing that, people are dads today are influenced, unfortunately, by that, and not realizing that. You know, maybe there is more support out there, but like I said, I believe times are changing. You
Yes.
know, you're seeing a lot more stay-at-home dads.
Mm.
If it's the wife that that has the opportunity to go out and do those things, but you know, I think we still have a long way to go, just as a society, to further enhance, I guess, what it means to be a, you know, what it means to be a in a supporting relationship between
An
a
involved
husband,
parent,
wife.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, I can't really narrow it down to one or two things that could be improved or anything like that. But it's just more of the fact that we need to. I think we just need to be open to change.
So now,
Is
Matt, what
is
is
the main
your
thing. Yeah.
advice uh, to dads or even moms who want to get their significant others involved with the process of raising their child, or not just cloth diapering, but just like cloth diapering is just one small part of the
One
whole,
aspect. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
one small aspect, right? But what about in general? What can dads do just by your own experience, or how can the moms get their significant others involved?
Yeah. I think, um, you know, it's just being open, doing a bit of research. You know, Google can be your friend in this instance. Reach out to friends, family members that maybe are have a young child, seeing what worked for them, what didn't. If you have that good of a relationship with them, and then just essentially, um, what I did is just try to be open, honest, and you know, we are in it together, and so we want to make sure that that we're there together through everything,
Right.
and co-parenting is and you know is the co-parenting and being there for your child, husband and wife or whatever the partnership may be, is important, and it is a shared, like I said, going back, looping back here, it is a shared responsibility, that and the real reward is seeing your kid grow happy, healthy, and hopefully happy, hopefully healthy, and then he can start teaching you things when he's old enough to do that. So
That,
because
that's
I'm
what.
learning every day.
And this is, I feel that you again, you are so right that it's basically, I feel that dads who don't do it are missing out on something like this free joy that you get from raising your own child, being involved. And I'm actually guilty of that. Like when Zara was growing up, I was not fully present because my excuse was, oh, I'm building a business or I'm trying to do this with Lil Helper. And I kind of, when I look back, even looking at you and the other dads who are involved, Kale is one of them, and I'm like, sheesh, I could have done that as well. That was a way. That is so empowering to be involved in something that even
Mhm.
interests you. So yeah, even I kind of, when I look at you guys, like if I had to do it all over again, I would do what you guys are doing,
Well,
much
thank
more,
you for that, Mo.
much more simply. Matt, are there any questions that you had for me or Lil Helper that had always kind of had you kind of like, what do these guys do, or how are these guys doing that, or why do they do it? Anything that I could answer for you?
Um, you know, honestly, no. I mean, we get a lot of updates from you and from the little helper team, and so I appreciate all the updates that you guys provide. And you know, you got lots of information on the website and through reviews and through comments and your video feeds of unboxing and new products, and it's great to see the community, and yeah, because you're so open with communication, I really don't have any questions.
That's
I truly support what you do.
I love it because I have always want to keep everything as open. Like my hope is I want to even put my finances and tell people how much money is coming in, how much money is going out.
Sure.
And I don't have the courage to do that yet, but at some point, I think I'll do it when I'm not afraid of people judging me of what we are doing and whatnot. But I also want to show you, Matt, one small thing that we've been working on that I think you'll enjoy a lot. Okay, so with the pre-orders that are going out, we are going to send out a book that we made. It took us a couple of years to make a book. This was one of my dream projects that I wanted to kind of publish a children's book through Lil Helper. Obviously, I have not written it. Far more talented people have worked on it than me. Yeah, so we made this, and the last minute we changed Sammy's clothes to a space dino.
Love it. Perfect.
And it's like a space theme book. Literally, what is it? Like Sammy is a kid who won't sleep, and their parents, after taking them around for walks and this and that, they built a spaceship and went off to Mars, and still Sammy won't sleep. And so it's a little bit about Lil Helper as well. So we'll have this going out with the pre-order. So I'm kind of very excited about that.
Love it.
And thank you, Matt, for allowing us to do these crazy things, because this only happens when folks like you patronize a small fledgling business like us and let us do what we do. So
my pleasure.
I cannot thank you enough for being so active, giving us so much perspective. I always kind of look out for your comments because I know that you will have something good to add to it. And in terms of constructive feedback as well, I always look forward to it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And thank you for your business. I can't thank you enough.
Perfect. Much appreciated, Mo. And I appreciate taking this opportunity to have a chat with you.
Yeah. And please, I would love to kind of do this again sometime, get an update on what Orion is up to. See, I'm learning a name. Orion is up to, and even about just your life and what goes on with you and Pamela. Please, I'm very interested in how you guys happen to do this beautifully, this arrangement of raising a child together. I love it. And I'm very interested. Thank you, Matt.
Perfect.
I really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mo.